It's Natalie Wheeland here with David Talalla, who is in recruitment, and he's going to tell us a little bit about it. First of all, can you tell us who you are and where you work, David?
David Talalla, I'm the director of David Talalla & Associates. We're a legal and executive recruitment company. We've got offices in Melbourne, Brisbane and in Kuala Lumpur.
And what's your background?
My background, I'm a lawyer. I practiced in London. I did my law degree in England and practiced in London for about 5 years. Moved back to Melbourne in 2000, did an MBA, worked for an international legal recruitment firm for a couple of years and then set up my own, which has been going now for about 6 years.
Thanks. Now, what we really want to chat to you about today, David, is giving some advice to students at uni or even early graduates on how to prepare for an interview, what to expect in an interview, what are those things that can make them stand out. So any hints and tips?
I'll probably rewind a little bit. I think the most important thing is to get as much legal experience as possible once you start your law degree. Summer placements, winter placements, that's going to get you, I guess, to the interview table. Once you do get an interview, I think it's really important to prepare properly. My motto has always been the Boy Scouts motto, which is be prepared. Get on the website, have a good look. You need to find out who's interviewing you, the partner, the HR, and then learn as much about those people as possible, particularly the partners, the type of work they've been doing, if there's any high-profile cases which have made the papers. Really important to know as much about the partner and also the firm. You get to know, the teams, how big the practice groups are, the mentoring you'll be getting. These are all very important things. We specialise in helping students to prepare by giving them a list of questions which I personally have tabulated over the last 12 years, questions which have come up, common questions which have come up in interviews, and I tend to go through them with the interviewee. We do a mock interview till both I and the interviewee is happy with the results. In fact, I'll just...
Any chance you could give us a sample of one or two questions?
Yes, I could do that. The typical one which comes out is what are your weaknesses? A lot of people find that very hard to answer. Another typical question is where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years' time? And again, we'll give you an answer which will prompt your mind to give an answer to that. Again, not an easy question to answer. Probably one of the toughest ones is you might get it directly. Why should we give you a job? And they will really analyse the way your body language, the answer you give, and that could well be the difference between you and the next person they interview getting the role.
And so if someone was to contact you, David, you could assist them in answering those questions?
Yep, we certainly can. Okay,
and you provide services from graduate level right up to partner in-house?
That's correct. With the graduate level, it's mainly this type of work. We try and help them with law firms. Some of them will come up to us and say, what about this firm, what about that firm? We'll mention firms they haven't even heard of, and both in Australia and internationally as well. So we give a range of advice. Same with partners. We've got experience in placing partners all over the world.
And what are the chances of a Melbourne or Australian junior lawyer getting a position overseas?
Very good, especially with the UK and US international firms. I've just come back from Singapore and Hong Kong, crying out for very good Australian lawyers or even graduates. They're stealing them from that junior level before they're even admitted. Again, very similar to the Australian model. They like to give you a winter placement or an internship, as they call it, and that's where they pick their trainees from. And they are available to Australian and international law students.
Okay. Now, on another note, I don't know how you go with this. On another note, I'm putting together some things on what it's like to really be a lawyer. Do you remember the difference between study and practice, and have you got any hints or horror stories or anything that you... I suppose the theme is, just off the record, the theme is what it's like to really be a lawyer. So I'm just asking people who are practicing lawyers.
Jeez, it's been a while, but there's a massive difference between learning the subjects at university and actually getting out there and practicing. The practical side of it I found was much more interesting, and I I realised that there was a lot of the stuff I learnt at university which was irrelevant. Great research skills, but at the end of the day, it is the practical experience which I believe makes you a good lawyer, and that comes from good mentoring. An example I can give, at one stage I was doing a bit of construction work, and we represented the builder, and the dispute was between the builder and the architect. And the way it panned out, nothing's certain in law, but the builder had a very, very, very good case. This was in London, and it was for about £500,000 is what he probably would have won from the architect. The deeper side of the story was the builder and the architect had a relationship which went back 25 years, where the architect provided the builder with work. So legally, you know, if we just followed the law books, we could have gone to court, and the builder would have won his probably would have won his £500,000, and that would have been the end of the story. But he would have lost a lot of work. You know, that relationship, that 25 years worth of relationship, would have gone down the drain, and he would have, in the long run, been worse off. We managed to convince him to settle the case with the architect. The relationship was not as badly damaged, and there was still a working relationship out of it. So yes, you know, and there's cases where you might win the battle, but you may lose the war. So, and that's just purely a lesson I learned from a very experienced lawyer who was my mentor at the time, and it was a good result for both parties, and in the long term, it worked out well for our client.
So one of the big steps is understanding commercial realities.
Correct, business acumen, which you learn on the job, and you learn through good people. So it's very important, you know, I guess, for a junior lawyer starting out to make sure they get to the firm, and again to research the people where they can actually learn some good skills from highly experienced people which have been there, done that.
Thanks very much, David.
No problem at all.